Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rebel Jump channel. Today we're going to do a review between two soundboards. We're going to take a look at the PlecterLabs Pico Crumble Dark Side soundboard versus the Saberforge Sabercore 2.0 soundboard, which is now a older soundboard, no longer on the market, but there's still a lot of people picking up second-hand sabers as we speak because they're currently flooding the market, and a lot of people want to get a bargain, have a nice saber, and they're interested to know how does their Sabercore 2.0 stack up against, for example, a Pico Crumble. So we got the fantastic Saber Trio Skylar here. It's outfitted with the Pico Crumble Dark Side soundboard from PlecterLabs, and we got a older version of Saberforge Gladius with a Viridian Soundcore, a Sabercore 2.0 soundboard. I picked this saber up second hand, and so first and foremost, the differences. The difference between the two soundboards before we go. Actually, you know what? Forget about it. Let's start with what is the same. So both soundboards have only one sound font installed. In this case, the Sabercore 2.0 soundboard has the Viridian, which is the light side font of said board, and the Pico Crumble has the dark sound font of said board version. So each have a good representation of a light side sound font and a dark side sound font, and both these boards come with a light side or dark side soundboard. In the case of the Sabercore 2.0 soundboard, it comes either with the Viridian, which is the light side soundboard, or the dark side soundboard, which is the crimson soundboard, which I don't have here. The PlecterLabs Pico Crumble comes with either the dark side or the light side sound font. I don't have the light side font with me soundboard, so I cannot demonstrate it in this case. But so they have a prefixed sound font on both soundboards. The sabers also have a sort of deep sleep mode. The deep sleep mode on the PlecterLabs is much more advanced. It goes into deep sleep automatically after an X amount of time when you don't use your saber. For example, you turned it on, you played with it, you turn your saber off, the red ring will light up for an X amount of time till a timer expires and nothing has been done during the idle time. You don't power the saber on, etc. Then the battery or the soundboard goes into deep sleep mode to preserve the battery. The light goes off and you know it's in a complete off state. With the Sabercore, it's a little bit different and outdated technology where you still have the kill key basically. The Sabercore 2.0 soundboard is by NAC or Nigen Electronics, so it's an older soundboard for sure, older technology. So you have to take out the kill key in order to take the soundboard out of deep sleep mode or sleep mode, which is a manual step versus something that's automatic. Now the differences are, in these cases, the Pico Crumble has RGB option. So if you have a Tri-Cree LED installed, you can have full RGB. It has 6 color profiles, so you can toggle between 6 colors. That is not present on the Sabercore soundboard, where it only has one fixed color. Basically, whatever LED you put in there, that is the saber color that you're gonna get. The reason for that being is because Saberforge choose to have quad Cree LEDs, which is basically 4 individual light points on the LED unit, and that together brings up a 12 watt LED. That means that it all have to be drawn power from the battery, so it draws 12 watts from the battery. And that is, of course, in these two cases, the brightest option, but it's not much brighter. It's like maybe 2-3% brighter, and it's really not significant at all, but you have a very high draw of power from the battery, so it's not very efficient. But that's just in the case because Saberforge, just for stupid reasons, want to keep stuck to the quad Cree LED. The Tri-Cree LED is basically 3 light points of 3 watts each, so you have a max of 9 watts that can be used from the battery in terms of full power. So that's already less full power than the quad Cree LED. but as I said, the brightness is very small in terms of difference, like really small. You hardly notice any difference. And the most cases when you have the Pico crumble set up with an RGB LED, so they have one green, one red, and one blue LED point on the LED, then you actually only use, if you set the color to either red, green, or blue, and that's just the default colors, so I mean the default red, the default blue, the default green, you only use one of those LED points, so you only use the blade, you lose the LED on only 3 watt. For example, only the 3 watt green LED is on, and then the red and the blue LED are turned off. So you have the green blade color. That means it's only using 3 watt at that time, so it uses significant less power from the battery. Of course, it's a little bit less bright as well if compared to a 4 die quad-cree LED that's in green color. Then of course this option will be brighter, but you also have some other issues because Saberforge dedicated colors don't have LEDs that are set up for backup / flash on clash, whereas the Tri-Cree has. So if you have your Tri-Cree with RGB, then you have, for example, your red as your main color, so this is 3 watt, and then you can have a combination of the other 2 LEDs or 1 LED to make up for your flash on clash color, which is a different color. That is something that is not to be found on the Sabercore soundboard, because Saberforge chooses to have a dedicated color set up for the quad-cree. So it's all green, it's all blue, all purple. It's basically all the LED points are on all the time. So what the Sabercore soundboard does is mimic flash on clash by flickering the LED in a certain pulse pattern, and that's something you can configure from the soundboard. And with the Pico crumble, it has the flickering as well by default, but it also has the flash on clash, which is a separate color, which is an actual different color. Both soundboards are managed from the AV switch, so you have an onboard menu from the soundboard which you control from your button. In the case of the Pico crumble, it's holding the button till it beeps. The menu basically only allows you to change the color. This is it. This is everything in the Pico crumble soundboard menu. I cannot adjust the sound, I cannot adjust the swing sensitivity or class sensitivity. That's it. Very basic. So we have the color. One time press is taking it out. Now it's out of sleep mode, so you can hear the boot up sound. And if I press it now, it actually turns on the saber. Turning it off, turns off the saber. It stays in the ring of the LED momentary switch stays on. That means the battery is still active and the soundboard is still active. After a few minutes, if I don't touch the saber and I don't push the button, it will goes in sleep mode again. The light will go off and I know this is in sleep mode. With the Sabercore 2.0 soundboard, you have to remove the kill key. Now, please be granted that I have a low battery at the moment on my Sabercore. So there will be some static electricity coming off the speaker and you hear some distortion. That just indicates that the battery is almost empty. So now we have the same type of situation. Both soundboards are on and are consuming power from the battery. The light is on. That means when I press the button, I actually boot up. I actually ignite the saber. Now the sound was a little bit less in this particular saber, and the reason for that being is because I set that in the soundboard, which I'll show you shortly. One major difference between the soundboards as well is that the Sabercore has an auxiliary button. I can actually have blaster sounds by pressing the AV switch, whereas the Pico crumble does not have any aux button, so it does not do anything when I press this button when the saber is turned off, so there's no secondary sound. The menu on the Sabercore 2.0 is more elaborate, as I will show you now. I press till I get the menu. Same.
Optical frequency
same system as with the Pico Crumble. You hold the button to get into the menu, and now I can select something. So I can set the optical frequency, that is the flickering of the LED.
2.
I set it 2. You hear that beep 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 sound. That means actually that the battery is almost empty, and now there's some static electricity noise coming to the speaker from the soundboard and the battery. That is only happening when the battery is on low power.
Select sound intensity low. High.
So I set it to high.
Select impact sensitivity 1. 2.
Impacts, so I can actually choose how sensitive my impacts will be in the hilt.
Select motion sensitivity 1. 2. 3. All settings saved.
So the nice thing from both boards is that it actually saves the configuration that I choose. So I choose, for example, the sensitivity on the Sabercore, save the hilt, put it in the deep sleep mode again by entering the kill key. Next time I take it out, it's exactly same configuration, because the configuration is saved directly to the soundboard. The same with the Pico Crumble. The changes that you make in terms of the color profile are directly saved to said soundboard. Both sabers have a mute functionality. The mute functionality on the Pico Crumble, I give it the benefit because you can do it like this. You hear that sound, and it starts up the blade color in a mute function. With this Sabercore 2.0 soundboard, I actually have to go through the entire menu that you just heard to set it to mute, and then save it. And then next time I want to have it on mute, I need to go through the entire configuration of the soundboard again, and then set it to high or low sound, which is kind of annoying. So I prefer this for my stunt setup and just for easy changing sound on or off. But I cannot change the volume of the sound to medium or high. Basically, it has no options as well for the flash and the swings, or the sensitivity, or the clash sensitivity, or the flash and clash colors, because these are pre-configured. So you have 6 color schemes with different colors, purple, green, blue, whatever, but you cannot control the flash and clash colors. Now, a few minor differences as well is that Saberforge uses a smaller, cheaper speaker that is not as loud and rich in the bass as the Pico Crumble can actually support. This one can, the Pico Crumble can support a 2 watt 28mm bass speaker, and yeah, it has so much more richness and power to the sound than the Sabercore, which has a really tiny, cheap speaker. It is a big difference. So I say for convenience and RGB options, I feel that the Pico Crumble is much more streamlined and easy to use, but you miss out on the sensitivity settings that you can do with the Sabercore. But I have to say, the Sabercore sensitivity and the Pico Crumble sensitivity is not the greatest. So the swings are very basic, because it only has a few swing sounds on each soundboard, a few clash sounds, like maybe 2 or 3, that's it. So it's already very limited, and having the difference in sensitivity is really not making a huge difference in my personal perspective. I also felt the amount of ghost swings or false swings with the Pico Crumble is much lower than with the Sabercore, which is a little bit finicky to set the settings correctly, because otherwise you have accidental swings or clashes that don't really come from moving the saber, but just are ghost swings. And so I say the overall feel and use of the Pico Crumble is, I actually prefer this over the Sabercore 2.0 soundboard by quite a mile. Just having that RGB functionality and the mute functionality on the fly is something that I prefer over setting the sensitivity and the clash, which basically are not fantastic. Both soundboards don't have the greatest motion detection chipset on the soundboard, so both are not that great. Also for power use wise, the battery setup with the soundboard setup and the Tricree LED is much more power consume friendly, and basically conserve much more of your power than the Sabercore, because the Quad-Cree LED is just 12 watts being sucked out of the battery, and it drains way faster than on a Tricree, where if I set it to the main color red, in this case I have red, I only use 3 watt at a given time, so I use 9 watt less than with the Sabercore 2.0 soundboard with this combination of LED. So that's a significant difference in runtime of the battery, of course. So I think that is something you really need to consider as well, especially if you use a red or deep red color, which is drawing more power from the battery than, for example, in this case a blue LED. That is gonna really impact the lifetime of the battery and the runtime. So I much more prefer the Pico Crumble. Plus the fact that the Pico Crumble also functions and supports the in-hilt recharge port, or the in-chassis recharge port, together with of course the Sabercore as well, makes these sabers quite convenient as entry-level sabers to swing around and play around with. They're definitely not on the high-end range, of course, but they're also not made for that category. They're made for making the lightsabers as affordable as possible and put them on a nice price on the market. But the Sabercore was a very expensive soundboard and is quite underwhelming. I actually prefer the Pico Crumble quite a bit. It really does feels better, it swings better. I can show you a little bit of the swings now. Again, hence the battery is almost empty on the Sabercore Viridian, so please forgive me for that. Now I do have to say, I do miss a little bit that the Pico Crumble does not have the aux option, so I don't have it doesn't have the option to make a blaster sound, but it does have an actual flash on clash versus just the flickering of the screen. I just give the benefits to the Pico Crumble over the older Sabercore 2.0 soundboard. So in case you're gonna pick up a Sabercore saber with a Saberforge saber with a Sabercore 2.0 soundboard, you know now how it will stack up against a Pico Crumble. And hopefully this video was informative for you, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next